Welcome to Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial, the home for financial advice in a language you can understand. Created by Marc Freedman of Freedman Financial, he and his team of certified financial planner professionals will discuss timely topics that help individuals and families make smart financial decisions. And now, get ready for this week's edition of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial.
Welcome back to another edition of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial. My name is Marc Freedman.
And I'm Marion Gilman.
And we're here to provide you with some financial advice in a language you can understand. We're heading into the end of summer. Only a couple weeks left, right?
It's scary, isn't it? Already the fall. Wow. Yeah. The fair will be here in no time.
That's right. Topsfield Fair is coming up. So we're preparing for that. And it's funny, you didn't make a mention that's like, oh my God, where has the time gone?
Well, you know, I do that all the time.
I know. We always say that. It's like, we all say that. So, you know, it moves along. It moved just as fast last year as it did this year.
It did. It just seems like it's faster.
It does.
When you're in the middle of it, right?
That's for sure. But so much more to come. So much great stuff going on. But, you know, today we wanted to get a little serious with you and talk to you about a couple of instances that we've actually seen here in the office that have been rather eye-opening to clients. It's been a test of our training to handle some of these situations.
Absolutely.
And it has to do with some of our clients who have been part of what could potentially have been a financial scam.
Right.
But it was something that we were able to divert because of our training, because of our experience, how we answered the questions, how we asked questions to really help in the situation. And perhaps, Marion, I'll turn it over to you and you can kind of tell the story.
Absolutely. So, you know, and we actually felt it's extremely important to discuss this at this point in time because we have a senior fraud team at LPL Financial who provides us with a lot of information about what to look for, you know, what's going on right now. And there have been numerous instances of a particular fraud that is going on, and this can be very, very dangerous. So what typically happens is you get an email, and this can be anybody. You get an email that says it's from Microsoft, and it said that you need updates on your computer. So, and if you click on that, they give you a phone number to call. If you click on that, all of a sudden, the computer starts to scream and, you know, flash and just all kinds of series of noises, and you can't get rid of it.
So think about this. So look, you've seen emails come across and they look legitimate. They can come from Microsoft. Right. They can come from Bank of America. They can come from companies with logos that you're familiar with. So you just assume that it's a legitimate email.
That's right.
But, you know, we've oftentimes talked to our clients about being careful when something just doesn't seem right. Why would Microsoft have any idea that your computer is out of date? Why would anybody say that, like my wife, Laura, just this past week, got an email from an orthopedics company that said, your bill, you are past due on payment to this orthopedics company. And she said, geez, I don't recall ever going to an orthopedics company. But the other part of it is that if you look at the email address of where it's coming from, even though it says it's coming from Microsoft or coming from Bank of America, it's important to take a look at who is the email sent from. So something that's very easy to detect as you look at potential scams is look at the word that is right after the @ symbol. You know, when you write your email address, it might say marc@gmail.com, right? So if it's coming from Bank of America, it should say whatever it is, cash@bankofamerica.com, not cash@cash.bankofamerica.com. Because
there should be nothing else in there besides the corporate name.
Right. There can be stuff after the corporate name, but whatever comes after that @ sign, that tells you whether it's legitimately that company's email or not. Now, you could see, maybe they spell, though, Bank of America wrong. They're missing a letter. That'll happen.
Yeah.
So that's not legitimate. You have to be diligent and careful. But Let's now say you do click on
Yeah.
this.
So if you click on this, you call this number, and you're calling a number now. Or or if you call, you actually pick up a phone and call that number. So now they have contact information for you and access to your computer. So remote access, because by clicking on this email, you've given remote access to somebody else. Who that might be, you never know.
So let's be sure we understand what remote access means.
Yes.
When you've hit this button and you've unlocked access to your computer, and perhaps it's said in very small print, maybe, I don't know, several scrolls down, that says you give permission for me to look through your computer, even though you don't see it up here, but it's way down there in really small print. You click that button, you now have given somebody access to everything that you can see right now on your computer. It's like somebody else is sitting in China somewhere looking at the computer exactly the same way you are.
And that's very common, given remote access to somebody who who is a service provider and who needs to do something on your computer. But giving remote access to some unknown entity creates a lot of danger to you, to anything that you might have on that computer. So let's say, if you have an account with Freedman Financial, you have an LPL, access on your computer, whether it's through an email or whether it's through a website or whether it's through an app on your computer.
Right. And something will pop up. Something will pop up on the screen that says, "Do you give access to Marc and Marion to share a screen?" Or the same thing as we would send to you through Zoom or whatever it might be. But this is something that you don't realize that you have given access to.
That's right. So you need to be, so again, don't ever call a number or click on a link that you don't know what it is exactly. Question everything. And my son has taught us to be really skeptical. But once these, I don't know what, overseas
cyber attackers, let's call them whatever they are.
There you go. But it's almost like a sweatshop over there.
Mm-hmm.
They have individuals who have scripts, who understand, nothing about what they're saying usually. And they get on the phone, they have a script, and they try to scare you into thinking that there's something wrong.
So why don't you continue on with the story?
This particular one, they had a person on the phone, and they kept calling and saying, well, you need to pay the U.S. government money, and you need to pay all this money, you owe this money to the Treasury. And they sent follow-up emails showing bills from the U.S. Treasury.
Which they created themselves as well.
That's right.
But they could get information because remember, they continued to have access to your computer for days and days and days and days and days.
Right.
You've now, once you called that phone number that they asked you to call, they now have your cell phone. And now they have access to all of your cell phone number and who you call and who your contacts are.
And they tell you not to shut off your computer. Don't ever shut off your computer. Don't, we're tracking you on your cell phone. And this is very scary. I mean, so, this is something you do not want to happen. And you need to just question it. And they're telling you not to trust anyone else, stay focused on what they're telling you. You need to follow a protocol. And we've had this happen to several clients now. Some have been, some have caught this at a certain point along the way. But if they call us and say, I need money.
Wait a second, who's they? If the client...
No. If the client calls us and says, I need money, this is where we've come into the picture. If the client doesn't call and doesn't admit anything, it doesn't tell us they need money or whatever it is, we can't intervene. So don't, and the person on the other end of the line might tell you, you shouldn't trust your family. Do not trust your family. don't trust your financial advisor. They're in on this. So you need to be extremely careful. They prey on vulnerable people, and they want to get money from you
But
eventually.
before we say vulnerable people, I mean, some people might say a vulnerable person is somebody that just isn't all that with it. They're older.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I will
no,
tell you,
no.
many folks are very sharp. And these clients that we've seen are very,
Yes.
very sharp people in their 80s, in their 90s. And
We've seen people that are in their 50s.
absolutely, that too.
Yes.
But understand the client will call us and they'll say, hey, I need a large amount of money. And so, for instance, this client did call and ask for a large amount of money.
Yeah.
And so how did you respond to that? How did your training kick in, Marion, to help you deal with that?
You know, the reason we try to understand our client in much more depth than just surface. Okay, I have an IRA account. I want you to invest it. That's not what we do at Freedman Financial. What we do is we figure out everything that that client has. We also understand who their family is. So when a client calls me and says, I need money, it's a family issue, I say, and, I try to question, okay, well, what's the family issue? This is a big amount of money. This could be harmful to your financial future. So we question all of this. And if the suspicion arises, if a person can't tell us what they need the money for, and we think that this could be a potential scam, we will intervene. I mean, there is no question.
Yeah, so think about this. You get a call from a client that says, I need a six-figure sum of money. And you ask them, no problem, it's your money. I mean, it's our
Absolutely.
obligation to
That's
send you the
right.
money.
That's
But
right.
we also, as a fiduciary, that's what you want us to do, to place your interest first. We might ask, tell me, what might you be using the money for? And if the client says to you, well, I really can't get into it right now. And this is a client who we have known everything about their financial life for decades. And whenever they've asked for money, it might have been for a child. It might have been for a large purchase. It might have been for something else. And of course, it's your money.
Yep.
But when they ask for money, in this case, this client wanted to take it from his retirement account.
Right.
And such a large sum of money would create an enormous tax burden, when in fact, the money could have been taken from other places that wouldn't have created that tax burden.
Right.
So this person was being led to be told that they have this account and they needed to take it
Right.
from here, right?
But yes, absolutely. But we have seen clients who have gotten into a scam, given money, and then they keep pursuing you as well.
Right.
And, once again, when we have clients that call over and over saying we need large sums of money, we really start to question that.
So the minute we start to question it, what's the first thing that you do, Marion? What's
In
the first thing
terms
that
of-
you did when we realized that this might be a problem? Who else did you call?
Oh, well, so we have a senior fraud team at LPL, and we can put freezes on the account. So the
Not
first,
freezers.
Yeah, right.
We freeze the
We
account.
freezes.
Yeah.
I meant that's how it's trying. Yeah,
It's the Massachusetts accent.
yeah, we put a freeze on the account. So what happens is that nobody can call and request money from that account without us confirming that it is that client. So because somebody could call LPL, or somebody could try to do this automatically by logging into your account. Again, they have access to passwords, usernames and passwords. They could go in and try to request money remotely through your computer. So once the account's frozen, nothing will go out of that.
So another thing to know about, if we were to ever get a call from a client that wants any money, someone calls the office and they want
Right.
money. First of all, if we don't recognize their voice in the first place, we
That's
will
right.
never accept that request anyways. We will likely call you back to confirm that
That's
it's
right.
really you asking. So we have been trained in a number of different ways to handle these situations. But in many cases, the requests come from a client and they say, I need you to send it to my bank account.
Right.
We're not sending it to a third party, some
No.
place out in Cameroon or whatever. We're sending it to a bank account. And they know what that account number is. We generally have it linked up.
Sure.
So we think that's legitimate. So there's two sets of ways to protect yourself. We send the money to the bank. If we send the money to the bank, Then it's up to the bank to then send it to whomever the client wants the money sent to.
Right.
We have the systems in place. And in this case, the client was telling you, this person or this company that was calling said to you not to trust your financial advisors.
Correct.
And they had our names.
Yes. But in another instance, so let me just say, another instance was that the client needed to give cash.
Right.
They were going to come and pick up cash at the house. So, you know, you had to go to the bank and get cash and give whoever this was the cash.
Right. And they've also been situations where the client has found out that the company, the person, whether they're in the Philippines or in Salem, Massachusetts, they say, we are within 5 miles of your home.
Yes.
We know when you leave the house.
Yes.
We know who you're calling because we have taps on your phone. We know everything that's going on. If you don't deliver this money in time, there will be consequences to pay.
Right.
And we've seen enough of those movies, right?
Absolutely. And so, you know, again, you need to be extremely careful. If you have a landline, you know, you can go to the landline and call through the landline because it's much more difficult to track a landline or to tap into a landline and have access to it than a cell phone. But also the other thing you can do is go somewhere else, go to your neighbors, call somebody.
And that's what we encourage the client to do. Absolutely. Is to call us from a different location, not their cell phone.
That's right.
So, you know.
And honestly, from what I understand, it's highly unusual that somebody is actually tracking.
That's right.
And lives within 10 miles.
It's a threat.
Yeah.
But it's scary.
It really
is. And if you're, you know, you're down that rabbit hole already, there can be problems. So we have, bottom line is we have systems in place to protect our clients. We have the resources available to us through a larger firm, through LPL Financial, where we have a fraud department that we can contact and they can give us additional guidance. We have training regularly so that we can be aware of some of the scams, some of the cyber attacks, all of that stuff that happens. And that's what we call financial advice in a language you can understand. You know, if now's the time for you to get serious about your financial planning, perhaps you've been working with a financial advisor who only focuses on one slice of your financial planning puzzle. We focus on the big picture, and we'd love to meet with you. Our phone number, 978-531-8108. That's 978-531-8108. Or visit us on the web, freedmanfinancial.com. That's Freedman.
Too easy to do.
Financial.com. And if you'd like to get our free weekly newsletter, go to the bottom of any page on our newsletter. You'll put in your name, your email address, and you will get planning pointers delivered to your inbox every Friday, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, every Friday. We've been doing this since March of 2009. Join the other 7,000 subscribers that already get our newsletter. That's going to do it for us this week. Thanks, Marion, and thanks for sharing these stories that I know our clients and those listeners here on the podcast can truly relate to.
Pay attention.
Absolutely.
That's the lesson.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy.
During today's episode of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial, your host may have discussed specific financial planning and investment ideas that are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations. Please remember that investing involves risk and may include loss of principal. Always consult a certified financial planner professional, qualified attorney, or tax advisor prior to investing to determine what is appropriate for you. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.